What if the charity you give in secret, when nobody sees you and nobody thanks you, becomes the reason Allah saves your family one day? What if a small sadaqah, given quietly for Allah alone, waits patiently until the moment you need it most? This is a true-to-life reminder about hidden charity and the promise of Allah. There was a quiet neighborhood on the edge of a busy city. Old houses, narrow roads, and people doing their best to survive. In that neighborhood lived a man named Yusuf. Yusuf was not rich. He was not known. He was a simple Muslim who worked repairing generators and electrical faults. Some days he earned enough to smile. Other days he returned home tired, with barely anything in his pocket. Yusuf lived with his wife Mariam and their 2 children. Life was not easy, but they trusted Allah. Yusuf believed deeply in the words of Allah, that whatever good a person sends forward, they will find it with Allah. Near Yusuf's house lived an elderly widow named Khadija. She had no husband, no children, and no one to rely on except Allah. Her house was weak, and many nights she slept hungry. She never begged and never complained. Most people passed her without noticing her struggle, but Yusuf noticed. One evening, Yusuf spoke to his wife and said he wanted only Allah to know about what he was about to do. Mariam agreed without hesitation. From that day, whenever Yusuf had a little extra money, he set some aside. Sometimes he bought rice and oil, sometimes medicine, sometimes just basic food. Late at night, when the streets were quiet and people were asleep, Yusuf placed the items gently at Khadija's door and walked away. No name, no message, no expectation. Yusuf remembered the teaching of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that the best charity is the one given in secret, until the left hand does not know what the right hand has given. He did not want praise. He wanted acceptance from Allah. Khadija never knew who helped her, but every night she raised her hands in dua. She asked Allah to reward the person who remembered her when she was forgotten. She asked Allah to protect them in their time of weakness and provide for them when they were in need. Yusuf never heard those du'as, but Allah heard every word. Years passed, and life continued. Then a test came. Yusuf became seriously ill. At first, it was small pain, then weakness. Soon, he could not work. Doctors said he needed surgery, and the cost was more than Yusuf and Mariam could ever afford. Bills began to pile up. Their children were sent home from school. Mariam cried quietly at night so the children would not hear. Yusuf lay in his hospital bed, repeating words of trust, reminding himself that Allah is sufficient and the best disposer of affairs. They made dua, but the situation looked impossible. Then something unexpected happened. One afternoon, Mariam returned home and found an envelope at the door. There was no name on it. Inside was money, enough to cover part of the hospital bill. The next day, another envelope appeared, then food arrived, then someone paid a hospital bill directly. Mariam asked around, but no one gave an answer. One day, an elderly man visited Yusuf in the hospital. He sat beside him and spoke gently. He said his sister was Khadija, the widow who had lived near Yusuf. He explained that before she passed away, she spoke often about someone who helped her in secret. She used to say that Allah would return that kindness at the perfect time. When Yusuf fell sick, the man remembered her words and reached out to others. Hearts were moved. Help came from directions Yusuf never expected. Tears flowed from Yusuf's eyes. He finally understood. The Sadaqah he gave quietly was never lost. It was stored with Allah. It returned when he needed it most. The Prophet, peace be upon him, spoke the truth when he said that charity does not decrease wealth. Yusuf recovered. His surgery was paid for. His children returned to school. Life did not become rich, but it became steady again. One night, Yusuf said to his wife that he never gave that charity expecting anything in return. Mariam replied that Allah never forgets. Hidden Sadaqah does not disappear. It waits, it grows, and when the time is right, Allah brings it back as mercy, protection, and help from places we never imagined. Give quietly, trust Allah completely, and leave the reward with Him.